All right, today we are going to discuss rental real estate versus the stock market, and more specifically, not just rental real estate, but turnkey rental real estate. A survey that was done recently, and they talked about people who had reached the age of 65 and whether or not they had reached the ability to retire. You can see here that 95% of them said that they couldn't. The rest of them, though, you can see 54% were dependent on others, 5% were still working. It's only two of these categories, one that says that they were comfortable enough to retire, and the other one that said that 1% of them that said that they were independently wealthy. So why is that? If we live in an amazing country, we have a lot of opportunity out there, why are 95% of people missing the mark by 65? And I think part of that answer is the market. Stock market is very volatile. It goes up and down. And in the right environment with the right knowledge, volatility is a good thing when it comes to investments. You know how to take advantage of it? There's nothing wrong with volatility, but the problem is most people invest in a way where you're going against the trend of the market. For example, if you go down to your employer and you say that you want to join their retirement program, most of the time that is going to be a stock-based type of investment, where the company is going to offer some sort of a percentage match, so it's going to become attractive that you can invest into that, and with their match you're already ahead of the game, and that's where a lot of people just go ahead and invest, which is great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that setup other than what you do from when you initiate it. If you are the type of person that wants to start that process and then once it's set up, sit back and do nothing more for 10, 20, 30 years while you work and save, then you shouldn't be in that program. Because the market is volatile. It goes up and down and up and down, and there's lots of times where you need to initiate getting in and getting out in order to take advantage and really create the ROI you're looking for. So what you need is you need something that's steady and safe and consistent, and that's what real estate is going to allow you. You can see here I'm specifically pulling a chart here that shows you the last 150 years in the stock market. This is showing you is that in 1929, which is of course the Great Depression, we had a major stock market crash, and it took over 30 years to recover. If you think that's an isolated incident, it is not. It happened again just not too far afterwards. You can see it took another 30 years to recover from the 60s to the 90s. So if the market does this, and it's done it again, by the way, in 2000 to 2010. So why? Why does this continue to happen? It's just the market, the way it's designed. It's specifically designed to be volatile. It's going to go up and down and up and down. It's going to consistently do that on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, even by the minute. Stocks go up and down and up and down. This happened again, and this is a closer snapshot of the last 10, 15 years. You can see that in 2008, 2009, that's our last major crash that we've had in the market. We've been on a great run since. It's just gone up and up and up ever since. We're now in a position where, is it going to happen again? We don't really know. Nobody knows, obviously, but this is where a lot of people are at right now, is they're very worried that if they have another 15 or 30-year gap, that they don't have the time to recover. So now is a perfect time to start asking yourself, where do I really want my money long term? If you've already decided this, which I think a lot of people listening to this already have, let's talk about what are the challenges of getting into real estate. For most people, it's just location. The vast majority of people that I talk to just live in an area of the country where doing it where they're at doesn't make sense. But there's a lot of other factors. Time is another major factor. For a lot of people, they love the idea, they love the concept, but investing in their 401k at the end of the month is just simply an automatic deposit. There's no thought or time or energy that goes into it, and they get used to that. So they say they don't have time to put into their retirement or their planning. If we can solve the time element for you, then what else is missing? It's experience, it's knowledge, it's where to go, it's what to do. All of these challenges can be solved very quickly by working with somebody like us that's already been there and already done it. What is turnkey? What does it mean? What it means is we do most of the heavy lifting for you. We're going to find properties in markets that we've already identified across the country as great markets to be in for rental real estate. We already have presence in these markets, meaning we already have leasing on the ground, property management, rehab crews that can go and take care of properties as needed. So we're going to find properties and get them fully renovated. As you buy them from us, we're going to also make sure that they're leased and have property management in place long term. Ultimately, if you decide to work with us, all those challenges that we just mentioned are all gone. We solve the time equation. We solve basically the vast majority of hurdles and obstacles The one area we can't solve is capital. Of course, that's going to come from you. As you bring capital to the table, we can go ahead and help you understand how everything else fits together. Location-wise, it doesn't matter where you live. It's where the properties are at. We're going to make sure these properties are in a prime location for optimal growth and ROI. Where you're at in the country will make no difference on the investments that we find and source for you. You can now do this remotely without having to fly to the properties. You can do this all online. It's very simple, very easy to go through. We're going to help you as we go through the process. The experience that we have is 10 to 15 years that we've been out there doing this. We've sold well over 3,000 properties in that time frame, and we currently are sourcing about 50 properties every single month to give you an idea of our current volume. One of the bigger questions, of course, is, okay, this all sounds great, but what's my ROI, especially compared to the market? If I'm going to pull my money out of the market and put it in real estate, what am I going to get? And the answer is very simple. We're going to be able to outdo the S&P averages very easily. You can see here on this chart, S&P over the last 30 years is 7%. It's actually under 7, 6.85% average. Now that is an average. That means some people are doing 10, some people are doing 5, and everywhere in between. We all know how that works, but if you're getting an average return over 3 decades of 7%, that's not exactly something that's hard to overcome. Real estate does that in just equity growth alone. Somebody called me up and said, Scott, I've got $100,000 to invest into real estate. What should we do? One of our first suggestions is going to be, let's get some leverage. Let's go out there and get some 80-20 conventional loans. Let's put 20% down on 5 properties, and that allows us to buy $500,000 properties instead of one $100,000 property. So now we are multiplying our returns by 5 times on anything that we do. Equity is a great example. If you have 4% equity growth and you only own 1 property, all cash, you'd only get a 4% growth that year. If you leverage it against 5 properties, now you are getting a 20% growth because you've only put in $100,000, but you're growing off of a total of 500. And that's what really makes real estate very attractive, is the ability to leverage and do it in a way where it doesn't break the bank. If you try and leverage in the stock market, you're going to be using some very high risk strategies that are not very effective. Doing that in real estate is how everybody does it. It's par for the course. You add in tax breaks and cash flow of an additional $12,000 a year, and your ROI in real estate could easily be 30% or more. So how you get started is very simple. You just simply click on this calendar link that you can see here. You can obviously call us if you'd like as well. You could just set up an appointment over the phone. The idea behind our initial free consultation is get to know you. We could spend 10, 15 minutes, upwards of 30 minutes on that call, just talking about where you're at, where we're at, and how we can work together. And if it makes sense, we will continue to work with you and go from there. We look forward to the opportunity to helping you one-on-one.